Good morning. I'm Linda Kender. I'm the regional director for MMA Global in MENA. And today we are joined by one of our lovely board members, Teresa, the VP of Marketing and Brand from OSN and Anghami. Welcome, Teresa.
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Today we are going to be talking about the future of media marketing and how it is affecting companies that are in the entertainment business. So, are we entering an era where entertainment brands need to behave more like technology companies or more like cultural brands? We've seen both, so we are trying to understand where it's headed.
It's not an easy question to answer, but I'll go with it can't be one or the other.
Yeah.
Because technology has been around forever.
Yeah.
And human needs have also been around forever. It's just that technology is becoming more and more relevant as the point of entry, as the point of access. It's how you experience something.
Yeah.
And it's very close to perfection because we now understand human behavior and journey like never before. It's just that fast.
Yeah.
But if you do that without the culture element of it, then nobody will still want you because you're irrelevant and you're not meeting their needs, or I'm just going to say feelings. I come from an unusual background I grew up in a household where art mattered, corporate household, but my parents were huge fans of cinema and music. So very early on, I understood that a song can change how your mood is, or you can leave the cinema and just have a completely different vibe than the one you go in, which is how I fell in love with advertising, to be honest. So even though tech has always been around, tech accelerates the process, no doubt, but humans are what gives it meaning. And one of the best examples I have to showcase it, because I think examples sometimes break it down, is our latest campaign in OSN Plus that we did. I think it was March this year. We created an anthem more to drive memorability and laughter because it was during the regional conflict. Hopefully, inshallah, this week goes away. When we wanted something that was a bit of nonsense, how do I take the unplug element of entertainment and just exponentiate it?
Yeah.
And we could not have done that without AI. AI speeded up the process, the testing, the metrics. But whenever we tried having technology and AI break the core insight or break the human element of it, we would just go in a loop.
Yeah. It gets stuck.
That ended up being, us, our in-house creative team, which are amazing. It ended up being musicians from the Anghami team because, I have the privilege of having video and music.
That's amazing.
The more human you made it, the better the tests were. The speed of it was insane because tech allows that. And I'm in a tech company, so I have all those tools and people who know how to use them. But what made it human and what made it culturally relevant was these little imperfections which we somehow resonate with.
Yeah.
And I've seen it over and over again, but this time I got to live it in the age of very, very fast AI in a tech company where, majority of them are all tech people. So they also teach me a lot. And we ended up with, double-digit growth on every single metric you can think of in a business. And we were named at some point the 2026 streaming platform in the UAE. So it clearly resonated.
Impressive. That's impressive.
We could not have done that without tech. So tech is infrastructure, culture is relevant. You cannot do one without the other. If that's the summary.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I think the conflict showed us where the tech can take us in terms of response more than anything. But cultural sensitivity and understanding and showed us the companies that will stay and, grow out of these kind of situations rather than, hide in a corner and not do anything about it. So,
which is not the first time. We've kind of seen it over and over again. It's just that tech will always change. Tech evolves as we evolve. We created it. So it literally evolves with us.
That stays true, by the way. I mean, up until now it has. So fingers crossed AI doesn't
take over the world like iRobot.
Yeah, we've all watched that movie. All right. So, okay. What is the biggest misconception marketers have today about how audience discover and engage with content?
I'm going to give an answer, which is a bit of a pivot to the question just because I find it more interesting.
Sure.
audiences don't necessarily discover or engage that differently. Again, it goes back to human basic needs. They evolve, but they're, if you like romance, you're likely going to like romance. If it doesn't, that's how it is. What I find a more interesting point of view is, that the I call it the marketing FOMO, and it's something I've taken it around. I learned it at Unilever, applied it at Unilever, took it to Disney, took it to Neo, and now taking it to OSN and Anghami. Is more and more marketeers need to learn how to say no. I know it's hard when you have 20 new trends and TikTok's exploding and, short content in vertical, like we want to do it all. And by the way, I also want to do House of the Dragon. I also want to do Harry Potter. We can't do everything, not just because of resources and money, those you can always find, but because the population is still the same. It's information overload. And we're a very, very small fraction of the system overload they have on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So my learning, and it's something I try bringing to all the teams, is even if you do 20, 30 things almost properly done, they almost never deliver the same as if you choose 5 and executed them perfectly. But you have to know how to choose the 5. And that's where, experience, gut, data-driven information, and, more than 20 years in consumer psychology and consumer insights kind of give me the upper advantage.
No.
But this is something that wherever I go, almost always, and CMO connects, people that we meet and exchange opinions, there's this fear of missing out of, my God, I saw that trend and I didn't go, I should have gone. You can't be like the horse with the things, if there's one that you have to jump to and it makes sense, then you jump. But those are the tactic elements. It's not part of your strategic annual, otherwise you're just reacting all the time and you all get tired, and then the impact of each of them is way lower than doing 5 really well done. 5, 3, 6, it depends on the industry, right? But if you do them really well, I wouldn't worry about audiences discovering and engaging, because they will. You chose them and you dedicated your time because of that.
And you've targeted them, and you've made sure you're targeting the ones that are already engaged with you on that level.
Or whatever the intent is, that's the beauty in entertainment specifically. No title is the same as other title. They're all very different. It doesn't matter that you constantly change your strategy. Your strategy is pretty much the same, in terms of why you chose those, what gives you the business metrics, what builds positioning. So the strategy framework is the same. It's just how you activate within. That's going to be different in terms of whether it's a brand campaign, whether it's a franchise IP that I'm trying to launch, whether it's a new show, the how you do it and how you choose the channels, how you look at the funnel, those might change. But the strategic framework as to why we're doing it, that's pretty much the same in every business.
No, absolutely. But that's a very interesting point. So an average human now gets exposed to around 11,000 messages. 11,000 messages.
And
if you're thinking about yours as one of those 11,000, as you say, make it resonate and skip on the FOMO and concentrate on what you're good at as well. Because, some companies are better at social than others.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that they, exactly. Like if they go and put an ad in Vogue magazine, it might just not work.
Exactly. To me, it's always come down to, our budget is not huge. We make it look huge, but I can guarantee you it was huge in the past. Currently, it's pretty close to what Europe is doing. So you just have to understand, the intent of what you're doing it. How does the brand speak, and then do cost versus impact. And if there's a return on investment, that's where you put the money behind. And sometimes it can mean, multi-million-dollar campaigns. Sometimes it can mean 150,000 campaign. It very much depends on the objective, but you can still be relevant and give impact with big budgets or low budgets. You just need to know why you're doing it and then do the how.
I love that. I love it. The short answer is the marketing FOMO, which we're going to be taking as a really cool statement from you today.
Enough with the focus.
Exactly. So we've touched on this with the cultural relevance, but as AI is getting stronger and it's reshaping content creation, the human element is also becoming more important. With great technology comes great responsibility, I would say.
Quoting Spider-Man, I love it. With great power comes great responsibility.
Asking to OSN. I did my homework. No. So how is human creativity going to stay relevant other than, cultural nuances and, like, because right now a lot of people are just feeding in their idea to AI and saying like, make this more creative. So again, as you said, it goes into the loop of it cannot go out of its own box. So how does your team in the marketing department deal with that?
I'm going to give an answer that I hope doesn't sound very arrogant, but then I justify myself.
Okay.
Look, AI, I gave a talk about this exact topic, creativity within AI and the importance of human brain, 3 years ago, which was more or less a year after ChatGPT broke. AI has been around for years.
I know.
ChatGPT came and just, because it allowed us to speak language on language, right? Before you needed to do code. That's where the biggest breakthrough was. And then the fact that it's machine learning. So you teach it something, it learns on its own neural networks, and then it gets you something that you think you want to hear. So AI as alone, they're pretty dumb without a prompt. They need a prompt. But having said that, look, what AI has done, and I kind of stand by that principle, is AI can make everybody average on anything.
Yeah.
I am not a mathematician. I am not a politician. If I wanted to, I'm pretty sure I could be one in, a year? I would still be average. Because you don't have the experience, the native interest. You didn't grow up around it.
Yeah.
So you can learn something, and maybe you can even pull it off, but it'll never be your best self. There will always be somebody who actually understands it, and that will be better than you. So that's one element to it. And then the other element is, so AI can make the average Joe become average pretty okay. This is how I feel. And the same applies to creativity. Because, look, the idea making and the idea generation, particularly people who work in, I've always admired people who work in creative agencies, like the Cannes Lion. I've always wanted to be one of them. And then I was never like one of the group, because I'm clearly a marketeer more than just, I have a bit of both. Because their mind just goes places.
Yeah.
The beauty of AI is that now I can join them and I can understand them better.
Yeah.
And the making ideas just became way, way faster. But that was never the hard part.
No.
Never, you can have anybody can have ideas. The hard part was, do they make sense? How can I test them? How can I explore them further? What if I do this instead of that, or this instead of that? And AI does that in days instead of months of study.
Yeah.
Days. And I don't know if it's as accurate as, but given the impact that it's had on the research consumer industries, pretty sure it's pretty close, because it drives on data. And again, humans don't change that often. So the AI bit for me is, I always said the same thing, and I stand by it, which is AI will only be as good as the person sitting behind it driving the prompt.
Okay, so let's say like a brilliant art director sits behind a new AI app that's gonna actually be inside, like mirror, or say the inside of a great creative mind, and start creating ad work that will actually come to the level of how we produce when humans go for it. Is that positive or negative?
I'm quite optimistic. I can only think it's positive. Again, if your heart's in the right place, the sole purpose of marketing and creative is to serve people.
Yeah.
Now, of course, growing a business comes with it, but in principle, all we people in this industry want to do, especially if you're in R&D or creative or marketeer, all we want to do is serve people so that they buy us more.
Yeah.
So if your heart's in the right place, who cares if
the results will come out? Yeah.
I'm these days I have conversations with my friends and my husband, like, I don't understand how I worked without AI in the past.
Honestly,
I don't even remember it anymore.
No. But that's technology, isn't it? Like, do you remember a time where you had to like pull out a camera and record, and if it was a video, God forbid, how long it would take you to actually so
but then if I break it down into like stupid, which is normally what I do when I get very philosophical, is in Unilever, we didn't have much tech. We had R&D. We had factories. We had people who thought through products, innovated on food.
Yeah.
And I remember that not half, but 20% of my time was spent sitting in factories, talking to them, learning, and then matching that learning into what I used to see, like the World Monitor or the Kantar studies on how can I bridge the gap? How can I service these guys with what they are finding? Where do they fit? And then we would create products and innovate.
Yeah.
Now, this is a very dumb version of what tech and AI is, but it's the same principle.
It is.
So
it is.
I find it very positive.
Yeah,
And I know that lots of people are afraid that, it's going to run out of jobs, and there's a whole conversation. I don't have a yes or no to that. I wouldn't know. But the same way, Google showed up and things showed up in the past, there are always jobs that are going to be lost, but new ones are going to come in.
Yeah.
And human beings, lucky for us, the curiosity level of our brains, we can evolve and we can learn skills. So,
find our new way in the new time. That's definitely it. I mean,
and the moment you want to learn, like, I'm all for learning. The moment I stop learning, I lose interest.
Yeah.
And that's literally AI. Like, you learn every day something, but you have to know what you're asking, and you have to know how you're reading it, because otherwise, I sometimes say that AI doesn't necessarily remove the need for thinking, but it will absolutely punish you for not doing it, because you will believe it, and it's a full-on lie.
Yes, and you will look like
super serious.
Information. It's like empty on the inside is what it is. It's a very good word that you used. I mean, the other day we were having a conversation with some CMOs, and we talked about so many different aspects of marketing. And in the whole conversation, a 1-hour conversation with 3 CMOs of leading companies, the word innovation didn't come up. And I brought that to their attention. I was like, have you noticed that innovation is no longer a word? While it used to be 5 years ago, I wouldn't even go back to 15 years ago. 5 years ago, innovation was one of the main subjects we would discuss in a marketing meeting. And they were all exactly what you said, like, technology has made us take innovation for granted because we innovate on the daily by using the right technology now. So it was a very nice reflection right there. Okay, so if you could place one bet on the future of marketing in media and entertainment, what would it be?
Thinking through the questions.
Thinking through.
No, look, the more I work and the more I live and learn, the less I think it's about marketing or innovation or technology. And again, I always go back to helping people and serving people. Yeah. So if I had to put one bet, I'm going to break it maybe down into 3 or 4. One is, the world keeps getting, I don't know how we do it, but we just make our lives more complicated in the world we live in. So navigating it is a big one. So the future of in that sense is we need to continue helping ourselves and others navigate the complexity of the world we're into. Whether it's industry, whether it's education, doesn't matter. That's one. The second one is, and again, I know that all people are different. Some of us are more curious, some of us don't like change. You will be forced to change. That's not something that, so people who tend to be averse to change, which, it's fine, it's a skill too.
Yeah.
They will be in trouble. And I'm seeing it with people that I know. And I'm seeing with, I give a lot of, not a lot, but some lectures and I speak at some events back home and even in my old companies. And I notice that they come and say, how are you so open to change? Like, how did you jump on a plane to Saudi Arabia to go to NEOM? You knew nothing. I'm like, well, I'm a storyteller, so I naturally chase adventures that make me laugh and make me, make my brain just go on steroids. So I can see them already in people like 40 plus making that change because they understand it's needed and they're also curious.
Yeah.
And I find that super cool, because then we're all, instead of the average, we go a step higher, because the moment you're curious and you learn and you challenge the status quo, you innovate. Doesn't matter the speed. Yeah. And then thirdly, I believe honestly that, how some people just tend to like follow something and then claim that it's theirs. They saw a trend, they went and say they were the first ones. That's now democratized. Everybody has access to it, even more than before. Yeah. So I believe that the better balance of, following a trend and creating that trend, that relevance, and going back to the first question, it's side by side. I mean, you're only as good as your experience, but you need to be relevant.
Yeah.
So to me, humans at the heart of everything that we do, and understanding what matters, relevance, to me, that's what's leading the future, which again, it's what has been leading for years now.
Yeah.
It's just at a bigger scale because there's a lot more information, a lot more ideas, and you need to look at it and say, okay, what's the one that actually makes sense? And that's not an easy job to do.
No.
So, marketeers and creatives are sitting, I think, the best time of our lives because, we were literally born and raised to do just that. That's advertising. Yeah. That's good advertising.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm having the time of my life in a tech company, working with entertainment and music brands, and in a building full of engineers who teach me every day.
That's amazing. I think you do have quite a unique position in between technology and fun content. It's fun by nature. So and you're so open to going with where the industry is leading, and you are leading with us. So it's amazing to
Hopefully.
see your journey, Teresa. And it's
also, just adding one more thing, the reason being that because I learned discipline at Unilever, I'm allowed to have that freedom, because otherwise you very easily lose yourself. But something that they often call me is, Teresa is like ruthless prioritization. But because we have that and we know the 5 things to do, we can allow ourselves to then just explore, as long as they fit those 5 and the impact is there. That's what I think. I'm very lucky in that way, because I was born and raised in entertainment, creative elements, and then very corporate, brand-led, P&L-led Unilever. So I think I found a good balance.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much, Teresa, for all of this insight. It has been amazing. And we'll catch up with you again in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you soon too.
Inshallah.